went to a dinner this evening in the city. I was invited there by a business coach of mine. It's also a friend and a very well-connected person. And I didn't get the final details of the dinner until sometime this afternoon. I knew that there was a dinner that I was potentially invited to days ahead of time. I didn't know if I would be able to go, meaning if there would actually be an invitation, and what time, where, all that kind of stuff. So there, are multiple ways to handle this kind of uncertainty. And one of the things that I had to do was decide whether I was going to assume that I would be invited to the dinner, or assume that I wouldn't be invited to the dinner. And I chose to assume that I would be invited to the dinner, even though I didn't know for sure. So I typically do Jiu-Jitsu in the evening, which would have conflicted with the dinner. I did Jiu-Jitsu in the morning instead to leave my evening open. Moving Jiu-Jitsu to the morning conflicted with a business call that I had set up, but it wasn't critical for me to be on the call. So I told the people on the call, hey, sorry, I've got something urgent. I may not be able to be on this call. Please go ahead and have it without me, because it had taken a while to set it up. I didn't want to ask people to reschedule. And the call went fine. And so the reason I'm talking about it is because there's two different mindsets. And in the past, it would have really bothered me not to have the details of this evening sooner, because I was focused on my own convenience, my own, being able to plan, which is natural and understandable. It's not unreasonable to want that. But if I had gotten upset, if I had allowed myself to get annoyed and said, you know what, forget it, these people aren't giving me the details, I'm going to assume it's not going to happen, and I hadn't switched my day around, then, that invitation would have come through when it did, and I would have been like, okay, well, I can't go because now I got to, do jiu-jitsu, or I would have had to miss jiu-jitsu. Either way, I wouldn't have been happy. And, so that's a more negative and self-centered mindset. And I chose to take a more positive and kind of open-minded approach, and decided to move my day around preemptively, knowing full well, the call could have come in and said, hey, Max, I couldn't get you into this dinner, sorry. Okay, fine, I would have had a free evening. Wouldn't have been the end of the world. But, I could have looked at that and said, well, if that happens, I will have moved my day around for nothing. That's true. I took a chance. It paid off. But it's really about mindset and focusing on gratitude instead of what there is to be upset about. And I know a lot about focusing on the second one, and I'm learning more and more about what it is to be focused on the first one. And basically, I just chose to be grateful that I had this opportunity, that it was even possible. and just said, okay, I'm going to assume that it's going to happen. Or at least I'm going to put myself in a position that if it comes through, I can take advantage of it. And that's what happened.